right, let's look at metals, guys. So gold has just been selling off with the strength of the DXY and inflation fears, rate hikes. So as this drops down, you have to have on your chart this anchored VWAP. This is when Donald Trump was elected, and that is the volume weighted average price. And I called this as support in around 4,000 in that anchored VWAP, which it tapped perfectly. Again, that is still the support zone. I don't see that breaking, and I have that discount zone like 39.75 to 4,025 would be a buy. And I said before, remember I said in our last time we were together a week ago that I didn't see 4,400 breaking at first because I remember that was strong support and it didn't. We ran right up to it and then we were right underneath it when the Fed was hawkish and it shot us down. So we are range bound between 4,000 and 4,400. So I like buys at 4,000 with a take profit at 4,400. Silver, again, remember I told you to keep an eye on 71 as resistance? Where did resistance show up? 71. This zone that I have here, and it sold down. Downside support at 64 on market structure, and then even further down at 54 if it drops. So keep an eye on 64 and 54. I think 54 would be a really good buy on this peak from way back in October of 2025. Overhead resistance in 77. I don't trade silver. I buy physical silver. I don't like the manipulation in the market. So that is XAG USD. Platinum sitting in that buy zone between 1,600 and 1,700. There's a consolidated range that we've drawn this out of with market structure. Looking a little sour right now. You may want to wait for it to price lift back up between over 1,700. If you bought this trade plan, you should still be within your threshold of your stop loss and targeting that all-time high anchored VWAP at just over 2,000. Palladium. Remember on this one, I said, and actually this is resistance. Let's change that color. I said, for now, I'm going to not do anything with Palladium until it gets down to $1,000. And then I'll buy. So I'll be on top of it. XPD USD. Copper has been a really good winner off of our report, XCU USD. So we closed just below the all-time high anchored VWAP. We've called, if you've followed me long enough, I have called a gazillion buys in this and trade plans that have paid on those buys. The next buy opportunity, even though this was our last trade plan that paid perfectly, remember that from our last meeting, you is probably slightly higher between 615 and 625, right? Otherwise, you're going to have to be really stubborn and let it come back down to 610 to 615, right? With a ton of support at $6 if for some reason it flushes to that point. But copper is a great thesis long term, and many fundamental experts are calling this at $10 or greater. Palantir's in the buy zone, guys, exactly. Like it was last week, it rose up, come back down. It wasn't enough in the money to go break even, but here's your second opportunity. Remember, I called the buy zone about $1 either side of 125, and we run it to the all-time high anchored VWAP at 155. And then with pure optimism and more volume, even higher than that. So I like this trade plan. And guys, I've said it before, I certainly am not going to ignore if we do get a 10% or greater retracement in the markets. I'm not going to ignore it at $100, right? So that's Palantir, PLTR.